Today, we are going to see a story of a great devotee of Lord Vishnu, Aandal. The story of Aandal. Aandal was the only woman saint among the Alvars, the Vaishnavite poet saint of South India, especially in Tamil areas. Alvar literally means immersed in the love of the Lord. The 12 Alvars were, along with 63 Nayanmars, who were the devotees of Lord Shiva, responsible for reviving the Bhakti movement in southern India. Taking a vow of celibacy, Vishnu Chitta dedicated his life to the services of Lord Narayana at the temple in Sri Villiputtur. He usually got up early in the morning, dutifully, and after taking a dip in a nearby pond, would rush to gardens, collect fresh flowers, and weaving them into a garland for the Lord. He would do this with great devotion, and while doing this, he would recite hymns for the Lord. Once a garland is ready, he would take that to the temple of Lord Narayana, known there as Vadapatrasayi Perumal at Sri Villiputtur. The chief priest there would adorn the garland woven by Vishnu Chitta to the Lord. After worshipping the Lord, adorned with the garland he made, he would move away to go home to have something to eat. He always say to himself, "If I have some money, I would renovate this temple." But a destitute like him can only wish. But the Lord decided to grant his wish. So the king Vallabhadeva Pandya, who was ruling from Madurai, had some doubt about spirituality. He was seeking answer to his spiritual doubts, but none who came forward was not giving the explanation to his satisfaction. And the announced rewards were sitting without any recipient. One night, Lord appeared in the dream of Vishnu Chitta and told him to go to the king and clear his doubt. Vishnu Chitta was not a learned person and was a simple devotee whose only skill would be to weave garland. And so he had self-doubts of his ability to talk on such deep subjects. However, he could not disobey the Lord, and so he went to the court to see the king. To his utter surprise, words flowed out of his mouth like a spring, and he cleared all spiritual doubt of the king, much to his joy. The king rewarded him well and sent him home with honor. Vishnu Chitta spent all the rewards to renovate the temple of the Lord. One day, as usual, Vishnu Chitta went out on his early morning round of collecting flowers for making the garland. To his surprise, he found a beautiful baby girl under a tulasi plant. Vishnu Chitta, who was living all alone himself, didn't know what to do with the baby. Picking it up, he ran here and there to investigate if anyone left it there to answer the call of nature of the morning or to take a dip in the nearby pond. None was nearby, and later the village elders, whom he ran with the baby for advice, suggested it is a gift of God and to raise it himself. Vishnu Chitta did not have a family of his own and lived alone himself, had taken the baby home and named her Kodai. He became the father, mother, and all for the baby and brought her up with great love. And Kodai grew up hearing the beautiful divine stories of Krishna and Rama, so much so that the little girl was constantly thinking of only the Lord. The girl was growing fast, and Vishnu Chitta was happy that he has someone near and dear. One morning, as usual, her father had made the garland for the Lord and popped out for a while, leaving the garland behind. When Kodai glanced at the garland, though she has seen that many times before, but today a strange desire to wear the garland arose in her. The offering to the god is generally very sacred, and no one would dare to even imagine using something which is to be offered to the Lord. But little Kodai was an exception. Let me see how I look with this garland, thought she. The little girl must be about 5 or 6 years by then. In a flash, she picked up the garland and wore it around her neck, with the long garland reaching the ground. She admired herself in the mirror there and kept it back as soon as she heard her father coming in. Kodai, I am off to the temple. Back soon and take care, said Vishnuchitta, leaving with the garland, blissfully unaware that the garland had been used by the little girl and became unholy or unusable for religious purposes. The garland then adorned to the Lord. Kodai continued this every day, secretly wearing the garland and admiring herself in the mirror, and then the same garland went to the Lord Vada Patra Sai. One day, the Lord decided to make public the devotion of child Kodai to the world. That particular day, when the garland was handed over by Vishnuchitta to the priest for decorating the Lord, there was a strand of human hair sticking to the flowers. On seeing this, the priest got furious and shouted at Vishnuchitta, "What an unholy thing is this?" He thundered, "How come there's a hair in the garland? Do you not know that only the purest of things are offered to the Lord? Take this back." Saying thus, he flung the garland back into the hand of Vishnuchitta, who was trembling with shame and embarrassment. He is a skillful garland weaver, could not figure out how a hair could have got into the garland when he was taking so much care to weave it. With a heavy heart, he walked back to his home, mentally tired with the shock and shame he had faced in the temple. That night, Vishnuchitta could not sleep. He could not figure out where from a long hair could attach itself to this garland he made with so much of devotion and care. His question had no answer, and he spent the night with not a wink. In the morning, as usual, he collected the flowers and made them into a beautiful garland. He took care that no hairs are in it like the previous day. That day too, he left the garland and went out, but came back almost immediately, and what he saw shocked him. The little Kodai was wearing the garland and admiring her beauty in the mirror. "Kodai!" he cried out loud, much to the shock of the little girl, who was taken aback on seeing her father see her wearing the garland. "Oh my God! What an unholy act! What can I do?" Vishnuchitta lamented, beating himself on his forehead. "I have committed grave sin. There is no recourse for me. Narayana, Narayana." He became hysterical. Kodai, unable to watch her father lament, thus started to cry. Vishnuchitta was in no mood to pacify the crying little girl. He threw away the garland and rushed away and plucked fresh flowers again, and made a new garland hurriedly and ran to the temple. That night, Vishnuchitta went to sleep disturbed. Lord Narayana appeared in his dream. "Why have you discarded the garland worn by Kodai?" demanded he. "You only saw her wearing the garland today, but you were unaware that I was happily wearing the garland worn by her for a long time. I will continue to wear only the garland worn by her, as it contains the scent of a pure devotion. Please do as I wish." Saying this, the Lord disappeared. Vishnuchitta woke up with a surprise and looked around, and the little girl was still crying without sleep. He went near her and pacified her and told her of his dream. The reddish eyes of the little girl shone refreshing surprise, and from the next day onward, she continued what she was doing in secrecy. She was then on known as Sudi Kodutha Sudar Viliyal, the girl with the bright eyes who wore the garland and gave it out to the Lord. As she grew up, Vishnuchitta was worried about her marriage and that he should find a good groom for her. Aandal, on the other hand, had her mind transfixed on Lord Krishna, who was Narayana himself, whom only she saw as her bridegroom. Her father had told her stories of Lord Krishna's plays and his teasing of young girls when he was young. "I am a bride to the Lord." Much to the surprise of all, she declared, "I will marry only Lord Krishna." She was thinking of the Lord and praying him every day, request him to take her as his bride. Every morning in the month of Margali, she would wake her friends up and after having a bath in the cold water, go about singing the praise of Lord Krishna through hymns known as Tirupavai, which was composed by her. She urged the other friends of hers also to pray to Lord Krishna in the month of Margali to get a good bridegroom, which even today many girls do. Vishnuchitta was getting more and more worried about the future of Kodai as he, as a grown-up adult, knew of impracticality of his daughter marrying the Lord. One day, Lord Ranganatha, whose abode is Sri Rangam, appeared in the dream of Vishnuchitta and expressed his desire to marry Kodai. He instructed Vishnuchitta to bring Kodai to Sri Rangam Bidek as a bride, where he would accept her as his wife. Vishnuchitta, who was elated at this dream of his, conveyed this to his patron and friend King Vallabhadeva Pandya, who made all arrangements for Kodai to be brought in a palanquin bedek in all bridal finery, accompanied by an array of elephants and horses, which was a symbol of status, along with a lot of gifts for the Lord. All the people of Sri Villiputtur were overjoyed to see the happenings to their darling Kodai and accompanied with her and her father to Sri Rangam, which is about 250 kilometers from Sri Villiputtur. The bright procession reached the temple of Sri Rangam, and no sooner Gothi got out of her palanquin, she rushed to the sanctorum of the Sri Ranganatha, followed by her father and all others. The moment she saw the Lord, she ran into the inner sanctum, and there were a flash, and Kodai had merged with the Lord Ranganatha, body and soul. All the people were spellbound by the miracle that happened in front of their eyes. Vishnu was tearful, sad at the thought of losing his dear daughter, at the same time extremely happy that his daughter had been accepted by the Lord as his consort. Aandal has become the goddesses, Sri Rangam with Lakshmi and Aandal. Notes: Kodai is said to have been about 15 years old when she merged with the Lord. Early marriages were the order of the day in ancient India. Apart from Tirupavai, Aandal had composed Nachiyar Tirumoli, a set of 143 verses. Even this day, Tirupavai is chanted with great zeal and fervor this month of Margali, early in the morning in all Vishnu temple and by the public in general. Vishnu was himself known as Alvar, Elder Alvar, and it is interesting to note that he had sung verses to bless the Lord to live long. He had this privilege as the Lord was his son-in-law. An interesting thing is that the Tamil Nadu government has the tower of this temple of Sri Villiputtur as its logo.